I'm working with the Big Bend Conservancy to raise money for Big Bend National Park, and today we're talking about a bear who inspired a painting. Last summer, when I was down in Big Bend National Park during my session as artist in residence for the park, Nicole Dickan, a graduate student in Sul Ross State University's Borderlands Research Institute, came down and met my wife Ellen and I, and she gave us a glimpse of how she did the field work for her thesis project. It was amazing for us. We loved it. It was a great time, learned a ton, and it directly inspired this painting. So now I'm going to show you some footage of me creating the painting at Big Bend National Park during my residency. Most of the work was done inside the Panther Junction Visitor Center. At the same time, we'll talk to Nicole about her bear project and learn a little bit about Beechie, the bear who was its direct inspiration. How are you learning about the bears that we're seeing in these paintings?
I was mostly learning, you can learn a little bit through their collars and watching their movements, but mostly learning by going into the field and seeing where they were hanging out and what types of areas they were using. So I did what was called cluster site investigations, where I would go to areas where there was 3 or more of the GPS points from the collars within a small radius area, and so a place that they spent 6 or more hours. And then I would hike to there and kind of see what they were doing, if they were bedding or foraging, or if they found, a beehive or something unique to sit around on. And that's really how I learned about them in this area, because you can only learn so much from the satellite imagery.
Yeah, and now let's talk a little bit about Beechie.
So Beechie was BBM004. So BB for black bear or Big Bend, depending on how you look at it. And then M for male, and then 004, he was the 4th bear to enter the study. I did a lot of cluster site investigations of him and learned that he used a lot of different areas, anything ranging from the pretty dense forest in the Chisos to like really barren areas in the lowlands, and went to his den site that he stayed in for the winter. It was just in this big boulder field, and what was really funny about visiting that was when I went to do the habitat measurements and stuff that I do at the den sites to get an understanding of what habitats they're choosing for that. There was just sotol plants that he had foraged all over the air. Every sotol within a couple 100-meter radius he had went to after he came out of his den and munched on. So he seemed to have a particular affinity for foraging on sotol.
Yeah. Immediately after the day that we spent hiking around with you, you had told me more about the specific bears, and I was so inspired. I had to paint a bear immediately, and I was like, Beechie, I've got to do a bear and a bunch of sotols. So that painting was specifically, arose out of your descriptions of him.
Yeah, he was funny because not all the bears seem to prefer the same forage, and so he was really the only bear I found that, like, if there was sotol around, he had hit it. So I like that about him. Something interesting about Beechie, he was the first adult male bear that I had seen engaging in play with a younger male.
Oh, really?
So where we trapped him, it just so happened there was a younger male bear, it was only probably 1 or 2 years old, that had been kind of watching us work up Beechie. And then after we finished the workup, we reversed Beechie, he got up, he walked away. And I was worried at first because usually larger males they don't usually play, they don't usually get along.
Yeah.
So I was worried that Beechie would go and try and scare off the smaller bear and see if there was, I thought I was going to see a fight or something, but he just kind of walked off. The younger bear kept walking away and Beechie followed him. The younger bear just laid down and Beechie came up, and then they started playing. And I was like, what am I watching right now? It was like, it just seemed like a really gentle soul Beechie was. So yeah, that was new for me, because I really thought I was about to see something violent, but no, they were just like kind of pawing each other around, and then they just went their separate ways.
Yeah, so Beechie's a sweetheart.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Nicole and I went down the street to the 5th Street Gallery in Alpine, Texas, to have a look at the original painting. So this is my spot now.
Nice. Oh, look at him.
There's Beechie. Beechie.
Yep, that was definitely Beechie. No, I think he captured his personality well too. Just very relaxed and mellow, and his shape is very much the way that he looked in person too.
Right. Well, thanks.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you.
And so, if anybody wants to come and take this Beechie home, it's right here, 5th Street, 5th and Holland, in Alpine. In addition to the original painting at the 5th Street Gallery, prints are also available, and all sales benefit Big Bend National Park through the Big Bend Conservancy. You can get more information at chrisrugia.com.